Welcome to Yacht Talk. We are in Barnes in southwest London to meet the legendary super yacht designer Andrew Winch in his headquarters. Well, Andrew, thank you very much for joining us today at Yacht Talk.
It is a great pleasure.
And we're also joined by Mark Cavendish of Heesen, of course, for a discussion around explorer yachts.
Thank you. Nice to see you again.
So, Andrew, tell us about your journey as a designer to start with. You started your studio, you launched them in 1986, and you are a Bannenberg offspring, so to speak. So, how did you become one of the world's most famous super yacht designers? In fact, Forbes calls you a super yacht influencer.
Well, it's kind of Forbes and kind of you to say those things about me. I was a very young student when I first met John Bannenberg. In fact, he kindly agreed to be my tutor when I was at Kingston College of Art. And there were no teachers of yacht design, and there still are really no teachers of yacht design. It's one of the reasons why at Winch we've almost started an apprenticeship scheme here to try and bring that talent, that education into the industry. So I spent 6 years at John, and it seems a great, long time ago now, after 35 years, celebrating 35 years this month, from when we started, my wife Jane and I started Andrew Winch Designs, which is now Winch Design.
And what is a Winch design? What's your signature look? How would you define it?
It's, in yachts, it is a yacht that loves the ocean. I adore the ocean, I adore the sea, I love sailing, as everybody knows. It's a boat or a yacht of individuality, of an essence of pure quality. It's creativity all wrapped up into a sculpture that floats.
And beautiful.
Thank you, Mark.
Let's talk about your collaboration with Heesen. How did it start?
Well, Andrew and I have actually known each other for really quite a long time. I think it probably goes back to not long after 1986 when you founded the firm. I think it was in the early 90s we collaborated on a 50-metre motor yacht, which back then was probably one of the biggest new builds going at the time.
It started as a 36
I know.
foot, 36 metre.
I know.
It had to fit.
Mark
came to me with this project. And it had to actually fit, 30 metre was it?
Yeah.
Had to fit in Saint-Jean-Cap-Ferrat Marina, because that was the maximum dock space. And from that...
And when we finished, it was a 50-metre boat.
It was a 50
could never go anywhere near Cap Ferrat.
But we built it.
We built it,
together.
Yeah.
We built that boat for that client, and he was an extremely happy yacht owner.
Of course, I was at Heesen in the, when was it, the mid-2000s, early 2000s. And yeah, Andrew and I have always kept in contact with each other all the time. And we worked together, first of all, on developing the Avanti project, didn't we? Yeah. Which was then commissioned and is now being built. And then the 80-metre Cosmos, the biggest boat we're building at the moment. And then this one came along, which you and I must have been having a conversation about explorer yachts and thought that it would be a good idea to develop a Winch Heesen, there we go, a Winch explorer yacht.
Exactly.
And that was how XVenture came about.
So tell us a bit more about the concept behind the XVenture from your perspective as a designer.
We wanted to try and create with Mark and with his studio team in Holland at the yard a yacht that could achieve things that had never been achieved before. So a new adventure for Heesen, a yacht that would carry an intrepid tender. We have a number of clients of much bigger yachts than this who still decide to tow or have driven beside them an intrepid tender. So we said how amazing it would be if you could cross the oceans, you could go wherever you want, but you had a tender of the size of an intrepid, that you could carry a submarine, that you could carry your fully certified helicopter deck. But it was also a first-class quality yacht finish. So I think the XVenture became an articulation of a dream to create a fleet of boats as well, 45, 48 metres, 57 metres and 65 metres. So we took the ethos and then drew it in 3 different platforms so that you really could build like a car and an automotive concept, like the Defender, Discovery and Range Rover. We wanted to create a rugged boat, an SUV, but it's a boat which is as comfortable as you want to go anywhere in the world. It could go light ship with an aluminium hull to the Bahamas. It could go steel yacht and ice class through the Northwest Passage.
Yeah, yeah.
Mark, what's the demand currently for such
Well,
yachts?
I mean, just to elaborate on what Andrew says, I mean, the thing about these explorer yachts is that they can tend to end up being extremely big yachts. I mean, you know, often not less than 70 metres plus. And not everybody wants an enormous yacht, because when you get to that size, quite a lot of nice Mediterranean harbours and bays and ports are not possible for you to go into. So we deliberately aimed at keeping this boat as a sort of pocket super yacht. So the first version of it was 57 metres long, which is a size that could probably still easily get into, I don't know, Saint-Tropez, Portofino, those kind of places.
St. Bart's has a limit of 60 metres, so you could cruise the Caribbean but still get into the most pretty place with the fashionable shops on the dock, whereas the bigger yachts, you can't do that. So I think it was important to us that we miniaturise without reducing any quality off the yacht. It's if, as we were saying, I think it's the Tesla. I think it's the all-electric Tesla, Elon Musk, go anywhere SUV of the ocean.
But I think the nice feature is this deck here, which is all glass, is the owner and guest deck. So you have the owner's cabin at the front, and behind it you have all the cabins for his guests and his family and his children. Above it, here on the wheelhouse deck, we've got an enormous wheelhouse with a sunroof on top. That's not just a place where the captain would steer the boat from. It's really the nerve centre, it's the operations, it's mission control, because that's where all the data that is available, you know, if the helicopter's coming back or somebody's skiing or windsurfing or kite surfing, whatever, you know, it's there that they will know where everybody is, what they're doing. It's where the adventures are planned. And then back here we have the traditional upper saloon and dining area. And then above we have this, have I missed out an area? I think I've missed out this area, haven't I? This is another part of the main saloon. I mean, the day entertaining areas are enormous on this yacht. And then up above we have what's called the winter garden, because this can all be opened, and possibly you could open the roof, but that's to be decided. But that's a big sort of winter garden area, which is then opens onto the sun deck jacuzzi. I think one of the great features, though, I will just say, is that, you know, if you are lucky enough to come and land on this with your helicopters, you can enter this atrium, and this atrium extends all the way through the yacht. And it's not just a staircase, but it's also a lift that runs through all the levels of the yacht. So you could arrive here, you could get the lift, you could come all the way down here, you could come out through between the tender garages, and you can come out onto the swim platform on the back.
And whose idea was it?
His.
Well, I dream a lot. I do dream a lot. I mean, and fun enough, we're also working with Triton submarines, and this yacht can carry a Triton submarine. Yeah. So you can visit anywhere that the larger, much larger explorer yachts with the same quality of submarine to go to the same depth as an explorer that might be 100 meters. But then you've got all these extra people to go with you. This can still take your special scientific staff that might want to go with you.
That's right. We did a version, didn't we, with a lot of
you can
scientist
carry
cabins.
Scientist cabins.
Yeah.
We've done a version in aluminium so that you can go to the Bahamas with all the toys you want to do, but shallow draft. So it's this. What I think is exciting about XVenture is this flexibility of dream, that we can develop it for any owner.
Multi-purpose offshore yacht.
Yeah, exactly that.
We should talk about the powering of it, because that's going to be quite interesting, I think. Because there are lots of options. I mean, you could be really boring and go conventional with just regular diesels and all the rest of it. But I don't think
that's not the future.
I don't think the world is going to do that for much longer. It's not the future. I think you'll see something. This boat has got to have.
Well, it's got to be a hybrid. It's got to be what you have created and what the yard have created. This technology at this size of doing longer range with less fuel.
Yeah.
So using less fuel, it's got to be ecological. It should be it should have no plastics that are on the interior designs. We've worked on the interior design of this to bring about a philosophy we have at the company with Life Worth Living, which is to find the products that are sourced ecologically, to find bamboos, to not use long growth woods that are in decline, to really think ecologically and green about the yacht. It should be possibly electric, it could be methanol. It should be able to sit there at anchor all night long silently.
Yes.
It should be able to not anchor if necessary, because you don't want to damage the seabed. You want to care for the ocean, but you want to find the ocean with this.
So we need dynamic positioning. We've got plenty of deck space to put solar panels on. Not that they produce enough power at the moment, but I think
they're coming.
One day
they're coming. I mean, if one wanted to do more, you could cover all of yes. There's a lot more. I mean, there's solar paneling and electrical paneling. I mean, there's a yacht now coming up, which is to travel around the world electrically. This whole thing could fold out during the daytime at anchor, and then you just make an enormous solar panel that charges up the batteries, and you go electrically. Sailboats are doing it now, and I think we've got to follow the adventure. This starts with a dream, but it is an adventure of yacht building. But yes, we've got to make it the latest and a leading design ecological project.
The leanest and the cleanest.
That's a nice one.
Now you are almost answering a question I have for you from a previous guest on the show.
Bonjour Andrew. My question is the following. What would be the future trend which will actually influence yacht design the most? That would be great if you give me an answer. Thank you.
I see, well, we're both sailors, and I have to say that a future trend for us is going back to my roots and sailing yachts. Sailing yachts are very ecological. They still use power, yes, but it's getting better and better to have those silent nights. One of the first big yachts I ever built was called Cyclops 3, 140-foot ketch. She had no hydraulic winches for the furlers, for the Genoas. They were hanged on sails. We had no air conditioning. We had hanged on sails.
140-foot yacht. That must have been
we
fun.
could sit silently at night because we had a battery bank. We had, at that point, submarine batteries went in. Today, there's a revolution in batteries, like we were saying with Tesla and silent running. So sailing is definitely moving forward, and bigger sailing yachts, and innovation in motor yacht engineering technology is the future.
Well, I guess it's now your turn to ask someone a question. A different one for you, actually, than the one we do normally on the show. So if you are going to the Monaco Yacht Show, like we are all hoping to do, who would you like to meet, and what is the question you would have for that person?
Well, sadly he's died, but I would love to meet Leonardo da Vinci and ask him what sort of yacht he would be building today. After his ideas on helicopters and his ideas on tanks and his drawings, I mean, and he was a phenomenal inventor and dreamer as well. But today's, a person today who I've never met, who I'd like to meet, probably Elon Musk. I think he is moving, he's got incredible courage, focusing that target that he seems to be putting towards electric. Is it right or wrong? I don't know, but I'd love to meet him and ask him what sort of yacht he would like.
I'd like to build a boat for him too.
Okay, so we definitely need to grab him at the Monaco Yacht Show if we can. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time today. Fascinating conversation.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
So this was the last episode of YachtTalk Specials from London. We hope you have enjoyed watching them as much as we've loved making them. We'll see you again very soon from the Monaco Yacht Show, where we'll be broadcasting, bringing you the latest about the world of super yachts. In the meantime, keep yachting.